Today on Suncoast View, the Suncoast's biggest university is going through a big rebranding campaign. We'll talk about the future of USF and its 3 campuses.
A loss of hearing can mean a loss of communication and earning ability for those impacted. Today, the nonprofit Hear Care tells us what you can do to help people right here on the Suncoast.
And we're getting ready for a huge Suncoast culinary collaboration by doing some taste testing and learning how to create our own bountiful banquets for entertaining. All that and more right now on Suncoast View. Welcome to the show, and welcome back to Nikki Logan Curran. Great to have you with us.
Thank you.
We love anybody that brings wine and cheese on a Monday. I mean, this is the only reason I came back from vacation was for this.
I know. It's Wine Fest season, so that's all we're going to be doing for the next 2 weeks is gearing up for the big 4-day of festivities. So.
And it's not just an event. It is an entire weekend.
It's an entire weekend of event, Thursday through Sunday. So there's something for everybody. So if you want to sit down and have something a little more formal, or if you want to be under the grand tasting tent, there's a million opportunities to hang out with your friends and have some incredible wine and really, really amazing food.
And learn, too. You were telling us some of the stories, you know, both behind the recipes, the chefs, and the wines are really inspiring. So I like that you think about that when you choose.
Right. You know, for us, it's important. You know, we switched over all of the proteins in the Madison's restaurant group, and Nyman Ranch has been a big supporter of the event this year. We have a ton of sponsors that have really stepped up to the plate every year after year. It's our 28th year, so we're really excited to have such beautiful weather and a lineup that is with a lot of new events this year. So that's fun.
And this year it feels like more than any, not only can you go taste the food, but you can take some of the ideas back home with you. You know, you'll know which meat to buy and which farms are sustainable. That's exciting.
Yeah, it's important to extend that conversation because, you know, everybody's trying to switch to a little more natural and sustainable products, and it's all really just in the choices we make at the grocery store.
And I'm noticing it on the labels on the wines. You know, proudly saying we farm sustainably. We do this. We support that. So
one little planet. That's all we got.
We're going to do it one bottle at a time, as I like to say. Well, it's great to have you with us.
I'm glad she brought this because this is how we could get Stephanie back.
Yes, right. After a vacation, I'm hard to drag back. I missed being here. I will tell you, I did enjoy my vacation, but I will also say a vacation with teenage children is a lot of work. So this is one of my prouder moments. I'm at the very top of a 13,000-foot peak in Breckenridge. We do ski a lot, so I'm still able to keep up with the kids as we shush down mountains and things like that. But we did have a very good time. The weather there was gorgeous, although I got to tell you, I'm not going to complain about humidity for a while because every bit of it is parched. So there's the crowd. We took our 3 oldest children skiing, so 14 through 17. And, you know, everybody did well, but boy, they have to be busy all the time.
That's when you hide in the lodge and have like a bourbon with your husband.
I'm tired. I mean, I really am. And a couple of times we're bored. There's nothing to do here. I'm like, we've been skiing for 12 hours. What more do you want to do? And
and like $100 to ride up and down.
Thank you. Exactly.
You will ride up that ski lift and you will go
You'll like it.
And I'm going to show you how much you better appreciate it.
Fun.
So, you know, family vacations. But good to be back. Good to feel some warmth and some humidity, quite honestly. Yes.
We'll bring it.
I repair my chapped lips and my scratchy throat. So it's always good to be back with good food and good friends in the kitchen. So we welcome Chef Brian from Madison's with us today. What are we making, Chef?
Hi, how are you guys? Thank you for having me. We're doing, speaking of natural, we're doing the Nyman Ranch, a sous vide terrace major. We're also working with some black garlic and some truffle potatoes.
Okay, well, I have a lot of questions about sous vide because I know it's become a very popular cooking method. So we'll talk to Chef Brian about that and learn whether or not that is something that we can be incorporating in our own home kitchens. Well, I know Joey's been bombarded with all the emails and comments on Facebook.
I was on the phone all last week with our viewers. Where is Stephanie? Where's Linda? So they're here. They're still with us.
But Linda is actually still on vacation. I am back for the most part, other than here and there. Linda is still traveling the world, and she apparently has made a new friend. Joey, I know she sent this to you. You must know more than I do.
Yes, she said that this was a picture with one of the locals. So I knew that, like you say, I knew she would make a friend quickly. She went with a group of her girlfriends that travel and they get together every year. They take vacation together. Her yayas.
Yes. I love that.
Yes. And she is all about going into the neighborhoods wherever she travels. So she had said that she was going to go find out an Australian Aborigine locale.
Understand the culture.
And
Yeah.
understand it, yes. And she did the same thing in South Africa. And she tells us every time those are her favorite parts of the trips.
Yeah, so we
is
can't wait till
understand
she
it.
gets back so we can hear the stories.
We will
Because
have
really
lots
miss
of
her, but they're going to be good stories.
Absolutely. All right, it is time for our first hot topic. And our biggest Suncoast University is about to undergo a major rebrand. USF is going to launch a huge campaign to clarify who it is. An actual name change for the university could be possible, along with a new slogan. USF has battled the issue of location since its creation. Most people outside of the state think South Florida, and that means it's in Fort Lauderdale or Miami, not Tampa, St. Pete, and Sarasota. So reportedly, the University of South Florida-Tampa Bay is being considered. The university also wants to promote its $500 million plus in research and some very impressive recent academic achievements. I'll be honest, I've never thought of it, but as someone who, did not live here their whole lives, yep, South Florida is not Tampa.
I didn't know they were here until I moved here.
Yeah,
Yep.
same thing. And I know that they've grown quite a bit in the last few years, and they're growing their programs and going to a 4-year school. And I like their old name. I do. I like that it's USF Sarasota Manatee, because anything that puts Sarasota and Manatee out there is good for me. I'm a little afraid that we're going to get lost in a Tampa Bay name.
Yes.
And you'll think Tampa, of course, and the St. Pete campus is so established that I think they won't lose their identity. I just worry.
And Sarasota isn't Tampa Bay. I mean, I think that's not a group we consider ourselves part of. So if that's the branding that USF goes with, we may be lost. They're also under something fairly confusing right now with Governor Scott, where they're trying to figure out their accreditation and how it affects each of the individual campuses, whether they stay isolated units or whether they become more of a this degree is here, this degree is there, which would make a more concentric university experience.
But I like that we would offer programs that other ones wouldn't have. We have a very strong hospitality program right now, and tourism, and that's important. Nursing, I believe they were working on.
But it makes me sad that the university on the whole is very, very strong and very, very misunderstood, and I think just underutilized. And we all know that the dollars come from out of state.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you that as the mother sending a kid to college. The out-of-state dollars are the ones we're grabbing in. Yeah, don't talk about this with Nikki and I. We may twitch. But yeah, you know what? So proud of the university. Would just like to see them capitalize on that.
And it does get confusing because you're right. You have USF, UCF, FSU. It takes me a second every time those initials come up.
We had to start like folders for Zoe.
Yeah.
Like they're all the acronyms are so similar.
Yes, and where they are. So, all right, well, we'll get it figured out. It's just nice to have all those options right here. So traveling with an infant is hard enough, but finding a place to breastfeed can be even worse. Sarasota Bradenton Airport is helping moms by providing suites for traveling mothers to breastfeed or pump. This idea actually comes from a pair of working women from Vermont who were frustrated with the lack of comfortable places on the go. There is also an app to find breastfeeding friendly locations while traveling. Okay, I love this because I think anybody who's done anything with young kids on the road is it's impossible to find anything to do, anywhere to do anything privately. But I mean, how many moms have sat on a toilet seat holding a baby to feed? And I know Jerry looks at me like I'm crazy, but that's like a reality of what you do when you're on the go.
Especially traveling, right? This is something I obviously never have thought about because it's nothing I've had to worry about. But I think it's great. And my mom raised me that if somebody was, had to breastfeed or something, even from the time I was a kid, don't look like give them privacy. Don't make a big deal out of it. Yeah, don't make a big deal either way.
But it's really gross to sit on a toilet and do it. And I've done it because I didn't have any other options. So thank you to SRQ.
Yeah.
I wasn't one that hid. I mean, I covered up.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I think it's so crazy that people get so grossed out about breastfeeding and get so offended, and then they drink milk from a baby cow. Like, I have a whole separate issue about it. You know what I mean? So this is a nice first step, I think, into just the global acceptance of the breastfeeding culture that is not going anywhere.
No, nor
We're so late to the gate in this conversation in the United States.
Well, and supporting how hard it is to do, this is kind of one of my platform things, is that pumping as a working mother was something that I had to do absolutely everywhere all the time, hiding behind closets at work. And, we met a young couple that was skiing actually, and she had a 3-month-old. And I said, oh my gosh, you left your baby. That must be so hard. And she's like, I'm hiding in ski lifts to pump right now. Like, she's like, that was part of her commitment to her baby. So why should it be so hard? Like, you don't really probably want to sit at gate C with your pump out. Right. You'd rather have a quiet place to do it.
Especially when you travel. I mean, we make so many concessions for people to smoke. We find places for them to smoke anywhere we go.
Great point.
Oh my gosh, I've never even thought about
I haven't either.
There's whole smoking rooms.
Right. So this is. We're
Oh,
late.
now we fired her up, and we are late, and that's
Now
an
I'm
amazing
mad.
point.
It's good for
Yep.
us.
If you're going to have a smoking room, you need a pumping room. I
That's
totally
right.
agree.
Good thinking, Joey.
Yeah.
Way to go. All right. So speaking of traveling, the middle seat's been where I've spent most of the last week of my life. Who actually likes to be there? Obviously no one, but we have some ideas that could help. Give the middle seat traveler the armrest. I mean, think about it. Condé Nast writer, you pointed out, on the aisle you've got one. You're guaranteed it. On the window, you've got one. You're guaranteed it. So stop hogging the one in the middle for yourself and let that poor person who's smushed between you actually use that armrest. So I knew this story was out there, and Joey and I had talked about it while I was traveling. Last night, I'm working on the show on a laptop on my way home, in the middle as the short person and the one who's always late. And both guys next to me, of which I'm not related to, were busy man spread and spread out on the armrest. And I was sitting there typing like this, and I could not stop thinking about this. Like, how do we make this middle seat behavior just well known? If you're stuck in the middle, give them the armrest.
Yes.
That, you know what, so many of like the opening intros when you're leaving on a flight have gotten so funny. You know what I mean?
true,
Like,
yeah.
especially like Southwest, those
Yes.
guys are hilarious when you
Yep.
take off. I feel like that's something they could incorporate, like
Right.
arm hogs scenario to
Yeah.
their
You get
like
the
opening.
left, you get the right, give the
Right.
poor person in the middle something.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
The only time I will take it, if I'm not on the middle, and it is if we are a good portion into the flight and the person in the middle has not used it. But I'm like, well, now it's just
It's
going
mine.
to waste, so I'll take it.
Well, and I don't know if seats have gotten smaller or whether I just no longer care as an adult who I touch, but you know, I was traveling next to a very nice man who was also working on his laptop, so nobody's bothering anybody. But by the end of the flight, we were literally
Best
touching side by side, typing on our laptops, because to get your, and I just thought, okay, you're not my husband, but I'm, that's
okay.
whatever.
Do you do that, you know, like when someone leans their chair back too far, you accidentally kick it? That kind of pass, well, maybe I do
I'm
this.
too short.
Right, it doesn't bother me.
Oh, I do the passive aggressive
But there's
kick.
not a lot of leaning anymore. I think we've scared people off of
Good.
that.
So maybe you just need a little, you just need to elbow them a
I
few
just
times.
decided to cozy up to him, figured
Just
he'd
be like,
move.
I'll buy you a cocktail for your armrest.
Yeah.
A cocktail an hour.
I would sit like this for that. All right, well, all you have to do is look around the Suncoast to see the popularity of tattoos as a means of personal expression. Well, a Harris poll reports now that 1 in 5 adults in the U.S. has at least one tattoo. 47% of millennials have them. But do tattoos still influence hiring? 86% of professionals ages 21 to 35 reportedly do not think visible tattoos should hurt job prospects. While hiring managers agree that employers are a bit more flexible, there may still be requests to cover them up while you are on the clock. What do you think?
I'm a fan, so I'm probably not the person to talk to about this.
That's actually why I'm asking, though. I mean,
I really feel like, and David and I just had this conversation the other day about all of these super stiff, like, Chamber of Commerce dresses and all this stuff. Like, I feel like expressing yourself has nothing to do with the resume and the good deeds that you do in this community. You know, so I don't feel like I mean, it's one thing if you have, you know, some crazy, like, vulgar or
Yeah.
hate.
well, you
or-
can't write kill on your fingers.
Right.
Or
I mean,
something.
that's
Yeah.
different. But if you have, you know, a koi fish or I don't know, like
Right.
something that's important to you, as long as it's not offensive wording, I don't think I honestly don't think it's anyone's business.
How will you parent that? Is that how you'll parent that?
Yes.
At 18, your child may do that, and don't worry about the
My
employer?
thing was make sure you love it and you want it, and then she's like, the technology's so good I can get rid of it. And I'm like, you're right.
And that's probably true.
And
as
by
we
the
go down
time she's
road.
sick of it, they probably will have some super awesome technology
Yeah.
by then. So
I have 4, and I have them in places that well, whatever job I'm having, I don't think you should see.
no one's seen them. You haven't had that job yet.
But they are, you know, they are covered somewhere, so
Right.
professionally they wouldn't. But I did this story 4 years ago. I did something about our news about tattoos in the workplace, and everyone was pretty accepting. There were a few exceptions, but I've noticed in 4 years it is so much more
Right.
I
generally
agree.
accepted. It's
I
just a
agree.
non-issue.
And quickly, I was at a big conference for a housewares show in Chicago last weekend, and very high up execs in very conservative
Right.
companies. You would see it on an ankle bone. You would see it on the inside your wrist.
I feel
So-
like there's so many more entrepreneurs making really big choices and running their own companies, and a lot of those are younger professionals, and they're starting companies and starting brands that straight out of the
Yeah.
gate. That's
And this
not up for
generation
debate.
is starting so much more inked than any of us ever
Yeah.
did. I think it's just going to be something that's going to go mainstream even more than it
Yeah.
has. So nothing wrong with that. All right, we're going to check out our happy hour forecast. When we come back, we're going to learn about Here Care Sarasota and the difference they're making here on the Suncoast.
Hi, Stephanie. We'll be right back with that, but let's take a look at our satellite view over Florida today. And you can see a lot of clouds marching in from the Bahamas over the southern tip of Florida, over the southern part of our viewing area. But there's a lot of sinking and drying air that is suppressing those from building up into showers or even thunder showers. And you can see radar indicates there's absolutely nothing going on. But those storms you see up to the upper left, that's our next weather maker that could get here on Saturday, but don't expect very much from it. Here's our futurecast overnight in high definition, showing winds mainly from the southeast, continuing a few clouds here and there, but otherwise it'll be fair and mild all evening long. Let's take a look at our temperature trend through the evening hours from 5 until 3 a.m. A gradual cooling through the 70s, but it's pretty nice when we're in the 70s in the evening if you're out having a dinner outside or barbecue in the backyard, cooling off into the low 60s for our low temperatures. Coming up at ABC 7 News at 5, 6, and 7, the complete forecast through the weekend.
Our ability to hear is something many of us take for granted. And although hearing aid technology has come a long way, lower income and underinsured people deal with the struggles of affording hearing aids and even having the opportunity to be evaluated. Dr. Mary Thorpe from HearCare Audiology is here with us today to show us how HearCare is working to change that. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
This is an important topic for everybody because I think it's something we all certainly are well aware of and worry about as we age. So tell us what HearCare is able to do.
So HearCare Audiology was able to form a nonprofit called HearCare Connection. And with HearCare Connection, we're able to provide hearing devices for individuals that can't normally afford it, who don't have insurance for it or just don't have the financial means. So we have a circle of giving model where somebody can qualify income-wise up to 250% of the federal poverty level, and they just bring in their information, and our current patients at HearCare Audiology donate some of their gently used hearing devices, and we're able to use those to put on individuals here that normally would not be able to afford hearing devices. So we can really help a lot of individuals here in town, including children.
And make a big difference in their lives, because obviously your quality of life suffers greatly if you're not able to communicate.
Definitely. It really provides these individuals, it opens up the world for them, because our ability to communicate with others affects so much of our lives.
Absolutely.
So,
now, when we're talking about the screening aspect of this, someone might be aware that they have a hearing problem but not know where to go from there. How does HearCare get involved there?
So if you all can go to my website, www.myhearcare.com, we have a link.
We'll put that on the screen.
Great, that shows where they can get information and where they can contact us. So we do provide hearing screenings in Sarasota and Manatee County, and we go to some low-income senior housing centers, preschools, things like this, so that if we do identify somebody that has failed the screenings, then we can refer them in for a full diagnostic evaluation through the nonprofit. And then we can go from there. If they do need hearing devices, then we can provide those.
That's huge, because I know some people may not even take the time to get screened because they think they don't have the money.
Correct.
Exactly.
Correct. So you're all helping me get the word out that there is resources, or that there are resources for these individuals, so they do not have to go without.
So there's help with screening, then there's help with actually obtaining the hearing aids.
There is.
But what you're doing right here on the Suncoast is part of a much bigger global picture. Tell us about that.
It is. I belong to a group of audiologists called Entheos Audiology Cooperative, and it's sort of like Doctors Without Borders. And we do humanitarian trips to Africa, to Guatemala, and to Jordan. And in those places, once again, we bring hearing health care to these are people that would never have any access to any kind of hearing services. And we also provide hearing aids. And many of the major manufacturers will donate hearing devices to us, as well as our own patients. And we take those with us, and we fit these children and some adults also in these communities where they would have no help at all and no access.
I need to ask a scary question looking at the amount of outreach that's involved here. How prevalent are hearing issues? What kind of percentages as we age are we looking at?
25% of the general population will have treatable hearing loss.
Wow.
So we are just, we want to be able to help as many individuals as we can, and it's a huge issue. And any donations that our community can give us, also they can do that on our website, will help with our global mission trips as well. And what we're really looking for are those hearing smiles. My last trip to Africa, to Mozambique, we had a young university student there that had traveled over 4 buses in 4 days, 1,500 miles to come for a hearing aid.
Wow.
And when we fit her with the hearing devices and turned it on, she started to cry.
Oh, that's amazing.
And it
That's
was
got to be the most rewarding part of your job.
it's so rewarding, it's so emotional. And so we of course hug and so forth.
But it
And
makes
so-
such a difference, and to be able to
It's-
spread that difference not only around the Suncoast but around the world is great.
Right.
Number one thing you need from people here, donation of hearing aids?
We do need donation of
Okay.
hearing devices, and they can bring it by Hear Care Audiology at our office at 2800 Hillview Street, right here locally, and those devices will be able to be used, and they have a charitable contribution that they can use as a tax deduction.
Wonderful. All right, people doing great things right here on the Suncoast and worldwide. Thank you. Great to get to hear about Hear Care. And for you to get more information on it, I want you to go to their website, myhearcare.com, again, to find out how you can get involved locally and globally. Coming up next, the best ways to throw a neighborhood party. Nikki has some hints.
A promise was made, a promise that hit the beaches of Normandy, a vow that captured Iwo Jima, a contract that weathered Tet, a pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq, an IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. DAV fights to keep that promise, so all veterans and their families get the benefits and support they earned. For help, visit DAV.org.
Need more space in your place? The More Space Place can help with Murphy beds that disappear to reveal a home office, living room, or den. Custom closets with designated areas for your shoes, bags, wardrobe, and accessories. Custom-built entertainment centers, garage storage systems, and more. The More Space Place has 3 showrooms next to Sunny's on US 41 South in Sarasota, on Lakewood Ranch Boulevard just south of State Route 64 in Bradenton, and on Tamiami Trail next to Panera Bread in Port Charlotte. Put more space in your place at the More Space Place.
Florida Studio Theater presents Blue Suede Shoes, celebrating the birth of rock and roll. From the father of rock and roll, Chuck Berry, to the king himself, Elvis Presley, this musical review features such great hits as Rock Around the Clock, Mustang Sally, Johnny Be Good, and of course, Blue Suede Shoes. Critics are calling Blue Suede Shoes a burst of rock history, dynamic and high voltage. Audiences are calling it phenomenal. Blue Suede Shoes has been held over by popular demand. Tickets can be purchased by calling 941-366-9000 or by visiting floridastudiotheater.org.
Growing up, my mom was afraid of the water, something she did not want me to feel.
So I enrolled Missy in swim lessons.
It changed my life.
Missy Franklin.
And now you can do the same for someone that you love.
There's nothing more precious than your child's well-being.
So act now, before it's too late.
Make us swim! I'm glad I did.
Thanks, Mom. Visit usaswimmingfoundation.org to find, get, or give a swim lesson.
Many websites selling medication may look professional and legitimate, but the vast majority of sites selling prescription drugs are doing so illegally. Criminals use websites to sell counterfeit medications that may contain life-threatening toxins. Dot Pharmacy is a website verification program that helps you identify safe and trustworthy online pharmacies. Purchasing medicine online can be safe and easy. Just look for pharmacy to the right of the dot in website addresses.
Well, the late Mr. Rogers used to sing about the benefits of knowing your neighbors. Well, a post from comedian Susan Kallman went viral after she said, in the midst of a very bad storm, to check on your neighbors and anyone who might need assistance. Then she added, I hope my neighbors will throw a bottle of wine over the wall. Well, luckily, they did. She posted a photo of the wine sitting on her fence. It was a friendly hello from a neighbor. So
I love that.
This is great. Yeah, so speaking of neighbors, Nikki, this is a great opportunity with you here. I know that you are very, very close with the people in your neighborhood.
I hadn't heard that story. Yes, we are very close with our neighbors, and it reminds me, after Hurricane Irma, you know, our street on Hillview didn't have power for 13 days. So 2 of our neighbors were gone, so like we would judge like what was defrosting. Like tonight we can have filet, tomorrow night, and we all made a communal table out of driftwood. Or not driftwood, plywood, and every night we ate dinner together. It was so awesome.
Start?
Yes.
How do you get that going?
I grew up in southern Mississippi, so it's very, you know, won't you be my neighbor kind of thing, borrow a cup of sugar scenario. Like we were all close and, you know, had a really great time. This is my friend Kim and Dave. They live in our neighborhood. and this is right here on Hillview where we live. But I
So
think
many of us now, though,
embracing
live with
your
closed doors and stuff, but you don't do that.
No, we all have keys to each other's houses, mostly because we're all forgetful and we forget to leave the dog out or we're working or something like that.
Right.
But we really, really trust each other. And so we had some new neighbors move across the street to a house that had been renovated. And, you know, we really just all tried to welcome them, Mike and Allison. And I think for us, we want each other to walk out and grab the mail and say hi and have a glass of wine together. And
so you have ideas of how we can do this in our own neighborhood. So the first is we've heard about progressive dinners, but you explain how they work.
Well, we to our left is Jen and Isaac, and he's a chef, so that's great, and I don't have a green thumb. So, for instance, he has a ton of herbs and all of these things growing in their boxes. I have eggs, you know, so we kind of work our way around the neighborhood, and we all just kind of get together sometimes and make pit stops at each other's houses. We spend our holidays together. A lot of us.
So you could do an appetizer at your house, and then everyone can move 2 doors
Right,
down.
It's a great way to meet new neighbors. And I think for us, you know, we live in this very small, crazy area where there's so much traffic going to and from the hospital. And I think for us, like, we really want each other to feel welcome and that we still have that really intimate setting, even in the middle of all these restaurants and all this action happening.
Well, you have another idea that I think is really great for especially if there are seniors in your neighborhood or anyone, shared mowing.
Yeah.
I love this.
Well, so our neighbors to the left, Marty and Sarah, they leave, they go up north. So I'll mow our grass and I'll just go ahead and mow theirs. Or if he's out front, when they're back, we mow each other's lawns. Or, you know, we really do try to take care of each other. And, you know, we've kind of approached our neighbors like we approach our marriage, like if everything is your job, if it's your job to make your neighborhood feel fun, or if it's your job to make your neighborhood or your new neighbors feel really, really welcome. There's tiny little things you can do for your neighbors to make them feel special.
Yes, because it's a hassle to get the mower out. So pretty much once it's out, you might as well do
Once you're hot and sweaty, you might as well do another 10 minutes.
Yeah, Marty's awesome. He just leaves it out all summer.
Food too. You share food from gardens.
Yes.
This is great.
Yes, we do. And you know, we all have sort of our talents. And they vary from being a handyman to a gardener or a party planner. So I kind of have the biggest communal table, so we usually end up over at our house. But, you know, for us, I really wanted to be that house when I was a kid that everybody came over to. You know, it's kind of like who has pop-in status. You know, when you think about which one of your friends can pop over uninvited. We want that for our neighbors, and I think that we really do have that.
I love this, and I think it's more important, especially now. So these are great tips, and the people on my street are going to hold me accountable. We will be doing this.
Bring them wine. It works.
I was just going to say, you can just bring wine. I'll be your friend.
Great ideas. You can find more great ideas from Nikki at Hitched and Honey. You can visit her Facebook page. And coming up next, we're going to keep our social trend going with a big banquet party. We'll learn about Banquet on the Block.
Coast Guard, we are taking on water.
The United States Coast Guard. They secure our ports and waterways, protect our environment, keep drugs away from our kids, and save lives. It's dangerous work. And in times of triumph or tragedy, the Coast Guard Foundation answers the call to support Coast Guard members and their families. Learn more at coastguardfoundation.org.
Are you a soccer mom or dad? Regardless of their age or experience level, when your kids play soccer or any other sport, there's one person on the sideline who is key to help recognize and seek medical care for sports-related concussion. It's you. You need to know the signs and symptoms of concussion, and you need to act if you think your child has been injured. Remember, when in doubt, sit them out. To learn more, go to cdc.gov/concussion. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004.
All hands on deck. What's up? I want to point out 3 tips for using the home computer more safely. Point away.
First, stop. Make sure your software is up to date and that you've password protected your computer's login and Wi-Fi connection.
Next, think before visiting a site, opening attachments, or clicking on links.
Then connect, knowing you're helping make the web safer for you
and for everyone. Make Stop, Think, Connect part of your daily online routine.
They are the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen. But what does it take to bridge the distance and keep them connected to family, home, and country? What does it take to strengthen our service members so they can be the greatest force for good in the world? It takes a force. Be a force behind the forces. Give today at force.uso.org.
I'm Deshauna Barber. In 2016, I was proud to win the title of Miss USA. What makes me just as proud is my service in the U.S. military. In the service, a soldier gains skills and learns values like discipline and leadership. That makes them an asset to any business that hires them. If you're an employer, on behalf of Coalition to Salute America's Heroes, remember to hire smart and bet on a vet. Visit saluteheroes.org or call this number to learn more.
Stay connected to your clients and new customers using ABC7 Digital Media Services. Our team of professionals provide a wide array of digital services to help you get the most out of your website. We specialize in building and helping you maintain the most effective digital solutions for your business. It's vital that your online presence stands out, so our experts will equip you with the best resources available. Trust ABC7 Digital Media Services to give you the right tools to grow your business.
Well, for the past 5 years, 6 of our area's favorite chefs come together to prepare the ultimate sit-down dinner, all for a great cause. Banquet on the Block is a sophisticated street party with 6 different courses, all served on the block of Lemon Avenue in downtown Sarasota. But choosing the correct dish is key, and we have 4 of this year's participating chefs here with some tips. Welcome. I don't know who's running all of the restaurants in town, because we're lucky to have you here. So before we get into some of the different dishes, Nikki, this is an amazing collaboration between some chefs. Set up what the whole event is like.
Well, it's a whole weekend of festivities. So today we're talking about specifically Banquet on the Block, which this is our 5th year. Some people have been in it since the beginning, and we have some new chefs sometimes. So it's exciting. It's one long table, and it actually runs all the way the length of Whole Foods Market all the way to Main Street. So a big communal event with a ton of wine and beautiful presentations by all these incredible chefs. So it's
literally
my favorite event.
A banquet on the block. You close off Lemon Ave
100%.
and everyone's sitting under the stars. Beautiful time of year. I know we have some pictures from previous events. This is amazing. I mean, I get afraid cooking for 4 people, let alone 200.
Yeah, you can see we've had a variety of chefs over the years. When guests arrive, we have a ton of vintners there displaying their wines, and so there's a sampling for about an hour or so, and then people make their way to their tables, and people buy big clumps of them so they can make sure they're sitting with their friends. But yeah, you can see in these photos that it is absolutely one of the best events in the year in terms of just really bringing together not only a community of chefs, but a lot of people that you don't really get the opportunity to hang out in such a cool urban environment.
Yes, and to eat food prepared by some of our area's favorite chefs.
100%.
So let's start with the courses. We want to talk to the chef and find out what your course is. So we have our friend Samuel Ray from Tsunami Sushi. And Sam, tell us about your course.
Okay, so this is called 3 Lovers, and what we did...
That's a good start.
We love it already.
Right, nothing wrong. We picked our favorite ingredients. So manager, chef, and kitchen chef all picked one. So it's avocado, king crab, and torch salmon. So it's just a mouthful of awesome ingredients.
Nice, and a nice way to start the dinner,
Yeah.
right? So this, and then this leads us into the next course. And I don't cook a lot with crab, but do you have any tips for anyone who's thinking of throwing a dinner party themselves?
Crab, you just don't want to overcook it, I would say. It gets tough and chewy, and it's such a nice flavor, you don't want to ruin it.
And salmon and crab not always paired together, so I like that because it's a little different.
It's interesting.
Yeah, because those are both pretty potent.
Yeah.
Sam's always good about the secret sauce. He always pulls it together with some
Right.
incredible sauce.
Well, it looks fantastic. Great way to start. All right, now we want to talk to Chef Laszlo from Salute, and you have a very special gnocchi. Tell us what it is.
Yes, this time I was inspired. I wanted to do a vegetable-inspired dish. I love working with vegetables. Some of them are wonderful, full texture flavors, and it's just great to work with them, and they're also very healthy for you. Being an Italian restaurant, I'm always responsible for the pasta course. So, this time I'm making homemade potato and butternut squash gnocchi with porcini and wild mushroom sauce.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Thank you.
So now we'll move over to Chef Brian from Madison's. Tell us about your course.
Today we're doing the Nyman Ranch Terrace Major. It is sous vide, slow cooked for about 4 hours. And we also have sauteed broccolini, a truffle and green onion hash, as well as a black garlic cream sauce.
Oh, wow.
So 2 mushroom-style dishes. Do you guys coordinate that type of thing? You mentioned you wanted to do vegetable. You always get us with truffle, we know.
Right.
Is that something that you talk about? Like, I get the truffle flavor, not you? Or?
You know, we typically do the meat course, and like he said, he does the pasta course. We didn't touch base, and I think we just got lucky on this one.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
Well, these two, actually, how long have you been in, Ray?
This is third year. Yeah.
Third year, yeah. So they are pretty good about knowing each other's strong suits and really, you know, kind of understanding the flow and the transition between courses. It's a marriage at this point.
And Nyman Ranch, we hear a lot about that meat. Tell us why you like to use that one.
All of our proteins are Nyman Ranch when it comes to beef and pork. It is all natural, never ever natural is what they call it, and it just means no hormones, no antibiotics, and all vegetarian diet, sustainable farming. Just all good stuff.
Oh, that's great advice if we're going to be making anything at home, that's available to us.
It is available.
That.
Yes.
It is available.
So, all right, dessert. It was just often a course everyone's looking forward to. And we have Chef Tamara from Laurel Oak Country Club. Tell us about dessert.
Well, I think that food should have a sense of humor, like I do. And so my dish this year is called, and if I mess it up, Chef Laszlo will help me, is Mangiu e tuoi piselli e le carote, which means eat your peas and carrots. So,
I love it.
Yeah, this is a carrot cake, which you've had.
Yes.
With my cream cheese, and I even have little tiny shaved, candied baby carrots.
Oh my gosh, that's gorgeous.
And I've made an almond soil, because there has to be soil in the garden. And there's my green pea ice cream. Now, before you freak out, that actually served in Paris at a very famous restaurant. And it has a hint of mint. It's actually delicious. So go in with an open mind. And then on the plate is my homemade ginger caramel sauce. I infuse the cream with ginger, strain out the ginger, and it's that bite peppery little flavor, and it's wonderful.
So there are actually spring peas of some sort in the ice cream.
Yes.
What a great way to get
You'll
people to eat
have
vegetables.
to taste it. And for the home cook, you know what you can do is if you want to make ice cream as a presentation for a dinner guest, my tip is grind up a few cookies and use it as the landing pad for your ice cream scoop, and your ice cream won't flop around the plate as you bring it to
That's
the
a good
and you'll
idea.
look like a professional chef, and it's something so simple to do.
This is great. Now, all right, this is all great food and it's a great event, but we know that it's for a great cause. Tell us a little bit about Florida Wine Fest.
Well, this is the 28th year of Florida Wine Fest, and I always like to give their team, Sandy and Jan, a shout out because they have one paid team member and the entire organization is run on volunteers, which is, it's absolutely incredible. So this is the 5th year for Banquet on the Block, the 28th year for Winefest itself, and they've given over $8 million to charity right here in Sarasota County. So
Great
something really to be proud of.
Great cause, great food, and a great event. So Banquet on the Block is April 6th, and it's just one of the many events offered as part of Florida Wine Fest. To purchase tickets, and you don't want to wait, you can also check out the full schedule. Visit floridawinefest.org. All right, coming up next, it is prom season, and we have a preview of this year's hot hair looks.
Download the all-new ABC 7 First Alert Weather app now.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
This is an ABC 7 News Update.
Good afternoon, I'm Jacqueline Matter. Here's what we're working on for 5 o'clock. A spike of boat thefts throughout Southwest Florida has prompted Longboat Key Police to remind boaters to secure their vessels, what the boating community is doing to be more vigilant, and why your doctor's orders may soon involve you taking selfies when you take your medication. Now let's get a check on our First Alert weather forecast with Steve Newman.
Hi, Jacqueline. Winds a little easier today than we saw yesterday, and they're also coming from a more southeasterly direction as well. Under 10 miles an hour for the most part across Sarasota and Manatee County. Even lighter than that around Charlotte County. And looking at satellite, we do have a strong southeasterly flow, but we have sinking and drying air that is suppressing this, keeping them from forming into showers. And sure enough, on radar, we're not going to see any showers tonight or tomorrow, but there could be some rain over the weekend. Don't get your hopes up. I'll tell you what the chance will be coming up at 5 o'clock.
ABC 7 News at 7 weeknights.
love taking care of my mom. It wasn't easy at first. She learned how to better communicate her needs. And you learned how to not ignore yours. I discovered how to make healthier meals, and I discovered how much I enjoyed them.
Becoming a caregiver is a learning experience for everyone. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Webb.
And I'm Ray Collins. Everyone loves spring break, but sometimes it can cause tension.
All right, so we're going to have two nationally known relationship experts here in studio to talk about some of those things that pop up among couples and families tomorrow on Good Morning Suncoast. John?
An approaching cold front may bring us some weekend rains. We're monitoring it, and we'll give you the updates bright and early.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. You're gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Go, okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet.
Prom season is upon us, and of course it's the time when teens want to look their best. So here with some tips to get the perfect prom hair is master stylist Carrie Johnson from Cutting Loose Salon. Oh, this excites me so much because it's a lot of our turns with teenagers. Hair's important. We're the overall look. So you brought two beautiful models with us today, Chloe and Olivia. Let's start first with Chloe and talk about her everyday look versus her prom look and what you've done.
Okay, well, her everyday look is right there, as you can see on camera. She few curls, or she wears it straight, you know, the occasional braid headband.
Kind of a traditional bob.
Yeah. And so in traditional bobs, you know, they say, ooh, I can't get an updo, or I can't get an up style. How do I make my hair look elegant? So by adding a few whimsical braids. And
show us what you did.
Yeah, we've got crisscross braids coming around the side. They're looped. And you know, the trend this year seems to be that we're ditching the can of hairspray and the 1,000 bobby pins. There's only about 4 hairpins in there holding the whole thing together.
Looks great.
It's about the prep product and the texture.
And you got the volume and you got the braid. For girls with even a little bit of a shorter bob, would you be able to maybe tie in a braid,
Absolutely.
add a piece?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she looks like her. She doesn't look like, you know, I know when I went to the prom, the girls put all their hair up, they were unrecognizable.
Oh, and it was so stiff.
Yeah, they, it's not as structured, not as stoic looking, you know?
Think of that, girls, when you're coming up with your ideas. We're a little more loose and laid back, but that doesn't mean it can't be glamorous. This is Olivia in an absolutely beautiful pink dress, and I'll probably ask her to turn, but I do want to show everybody that Olivia does have absolutely long, gorgeous hair every day, so you have a lot to work with. You're very lucky, and I'm going to slowly turn you just a little bit because I want everyone to see the creation that Carrie has made in the back. So if anybody would want to ask for this, what would you say?
This is like an undone textured braid. It's an inverted ponytail, actually. Those are like 4 or 5 inverted ponytails kind of fed in between each other, and then they're puffed out and ruched a little bit. We thought it went well with the ruching in the back of her dress, how it bustles like that, kind of mimicked. And when I looked at Olivia's Instagram for some inspiration, she does a lot of braids. She has a few of those flirty, whimsical pieces coming down, and yeah.
It's very natural yet elegant all at the same time.
It's really fun.
Yeah, it is very fun. And is that kind of the point? I mean, tell us about some of the things we've seen on the Oscars this year. It seems like fun is a good word. We're not looking so frou-frou-y.
and not, I mean, not fragile, like they're gonna break, you know? So they do have like a smoky eye, and see, that's bohemian looks are really, really in this year.
Yeah, she looks fierce.
Yeah, and textured braids and like, okay, top knots. That used to be like, okay, the college bun, you whip it up because you have an 8 a.m. class.
Mine's still there from college.
I
never got rid of mine.
Nikki, you're so stylish. We didn't know top buns.
And there too, see, there's the exaggerated side part on a bob. And that just looks elegant as well. It shows off her, you know, shoulders and curves in her dress. It's, you know, it's be your own kind of beautiful.
Oh, I love
you
that.
know, that's. we don't want you so made up that you're unrecognizable. And and one thing I wanted to talk about with all of the curls, and like we talked about Olivia's hair being so long in one length, that our humidity, even though it's great for your chapped lips, it's not so great for the hair.
Absolutely. And you got to think about that, because you're not going to hold a great style.
Exactly.
Yeah, this would never be down on. I couldn't even see driving here in the fog around town this morning.
Perfect. And accessories are really in for the hair this year. So if you wanted to put a little gold specks or leaves or sparkle in there just to jazz it up a little bit.
And it connects with the dress too. In both cases,
Absolutely.
the hair and
matches.
the dress, yeah, there's an influence there.
It's about their personality, and that the hair goes with their dress and not like the hair's wearing them.
That's a great way of looking at it. And I love your shirt sort of sums up Cutting Loose. Be your own kind of beautiful. And the proteges at Cutting Loose are actually able to help out the moms not breaking the bank when it comes time to prom hair. Tell us about your promotion.
Well, it's really stressful when moms or friends try to do each other's hair. You know, it's not their cup of tea. And
It's the Pinterest fail scenario.
Yes, everything looks so easy on Pinterest and YouTube, and the girls are stressed, so they're not always so nice.
So your proteges are able to help out, and those are appointments that can be booked at Cutting Loose?
Starting at $35, they can do iron work, a blowout, and make
amazing.
it easy.
And then, you know what? Those are girls with way more skills than most of us moms, because I know I'm outsourcing, that's for sure. All right, Carrie, some great ideas. We love it when you're here from Cutting Loose. And a big thanks to Charlie's Boutique. They're on Manatee Avenue in Bradenton. They provided these gorgeous dresses, and I know they have lots more for all of your prom needs. So find Cutting Loose online at cuttingloose.net. And girls, be yourselves. You look beautiful. You're going to have the best night of your life. Coming up, we're one step closer to the kitchen and Madison's.
Florida Studio Theater presents Blue Suede Shoes, celebrating the birth of rock and roll. From the father of rock and roll, Chuck Berry, to the king himself, Elvis Presley, this musical review features such great hits as Rock Around the Clock, Mustang Sally, Johnny Be Good, and of course, Blue Suede Shoes. Critics are calling Blue Suede Shoes a burst of rock history, dynamic and high voltage. Audiences are calling it phenomenal. Blue Suede Shoes has been held over by popular demand. Tickets can be purchased by calling 941-366-9000 or by visiting floridastudiotheater.org.
I took my first handful of pills, and that's when all my priorities seemed to change.
He would ask to use the bathroom in other people's homes.
He just assumed that they would have medication.
He'd go in their medicine cabinets and steal prescription drugs.
I wish I knew really what these prescription pills were.
We were so naive about the whole drug thing.
These are all synthetic forms of heroin.
Keep your medication locked up because you'll never notice that a pill is gone.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Chris Domine is a husband, father, an athlete, even an Ironman. But 10 years ago, Chris's kidneys were failing.
The doctor said if you don't do dialysis, if you don't get a kidney transplant, you are going to die.
Then Chris received a second chance, made possible by an organ donor.
Your well-being changes from loss of hope to better times ahead.
Imagine what you could make possible. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Hi, I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. No one should face breast cancer alone. When I was diagnosed 36 years ago, there was no internet, and I had to make a decision with little information. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. To learn what every woman needs to know about breast cancer, visit nbcf.org/hope.
Thanks to all of you who participated in ABC7's Caribbean Cruise Giveaway Contest. Join us as we celebrate our grand prize winner, Joyce Fakowski of Northport. Married for 13 years in June, Joy and her husband, Don, are excited to celebrate their anniversary on a spectacular 7-night luxury Caribbean cruise for two. Congratulations, Joy and Don. Bon voyage. ABC7, we're here for you.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
We wanted to get another prom tip out there with Carrie from Cutting Loose Salons. You have a suggestion that when the girls make their appointment, that they need to contact and give their stylist some pictures. Yep. Tell us about that.
They can either text us or they can email us, and they can have a picture of themselves, like straight, natural, and what they want.
Okay.
Because a lot of times they'll want something, but their hair may be too fine and too silky, or maybe they want a braid and they have too many layers. We'd be able to tell them, hey, we can buy an extension or two and braid that and put it in. So at least your stylist is prepared for what you want.
And that way you don't walk out with something isn't what you want day of, because we know you'll all be nervous and excited and you want it to be exactly what you want.
Can you send photos of your dress as
Absolutely.
well? This is great.
It is. It helps the stylist, I'm sure. It'll ease stress for moms and girls, because I know it's an exciting time of year. So again, Cutting Loose Salons, all ready for your prom needs. Send them pictures, send them befores, send them your wish list of what you want to look like, and they will help you make it happen. Okay, we're heading to the kitchen with Madison to learn more about Nyman Ranch beef.
Keep up with the Suncoast. Watch your favorite ABC 7 shows on your streaming device. This is an ABC 7 News Update.
Hello, I'm Jacqueline Matter. Here's what we're working on for 5 o'clock. FDOT is constructing a new roundabout in a very busy area near downtown Sarasota. How local stores feel about the construction and how it will impact their business. Taking a quick look at First Alert traffic, right now we are seeing backups on Midnight Pass Road on Siesta Key right near the intersection of US 41. Now let's get a check on our First Alert weather forecast with Steve Newman.
Hey Jacqueline, we've got a little breeze going across the state today, but not as strong as yesterday. And these little puffy popcorn cumulus clouds is all we've got as far as weather goes, with a southeasterly wind flow. And those winds are not quite as strong as they were at this time yesterday. And there's no rain on radar. Currently at Sarasota Bradenton Airport, the temperature coming in at 77, cooler than we've been at this time for the last few days, and the humidity is up. Our weekend forecast, the Passover Easter weekend forecast, coming up in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.
Ever since I can remember, I've been intrigued by industrial design and the optimization.
Wait, that's passion? Ever since I can remember, my passion has been industrial design. We need 3D printers for Miss Adams' engineering program so that we are ready to solve 21st century challenges.
Impressive. Think It Up is a new initiative to support student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classroom today? Think it up.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. Yeah. It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
I am the resident district manager on the FAU campus for Chartwell. Whenever I see Haley, I do not see a person with a disability. I see a person with extraordinary abilities. Haley is always smiling. She's always on time. She gives fantastic customer service and is always focused on any job that she's given.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
You now have the power to prioritize your Facebook feed and get local news and information from the team you trust. Go to the ABC7 Sarasota page on Facebook. Give us a like, then click following and choose See First. That's it. Customize even more by choosing notifications. Choose breaking news, posts, live videos, anything you want to see in real time. Take control of your newsfeed and stay connected to what's happening in your community with ABC7 on Facebook. get breaking news alerts focused on the Suncoast. Download the ABC7 News app.
Coming up Tuesday at 4 on Suncoast View, how does the Suncoast stack up in terms of Florida health care? Gulf Coast Medical Group breaks down what we do well and what we need to work on. Dogs have mobility issues as they age, just like we do. We'll find out how to help our four-legged friends stay active with Canine Corral. Plus, spring fashions and accessories from Treat Boutique. And Julie DeFons brings her cake artistry to the kitchen.
Welcome back, everybody. We are going to highlight Chef Brian Harmon's dish. He is the chef de cuisine at Madison City Grill in downtown Sarasota, and he's going to show us the dish that he's preparing for our banquet on the block, which is easy for you because you just step out the front door.
That's right. You don't even
Everyone else has to
All
bring
right.
their stuff over.
Okay, let's get him started.
All right, we're going to start with the baby broccolini. Let's take some of this and cut the stalks off and clean the leaves off for me.
So broccolini, for those who don't know, is a combination of what?
It's broccoli and gailan. Gailan is Chinese broccoli.
Okay.
And it was invented in '93 in California, Salinas, California.
And you do see it on menus all over now.
Absolutely, more so now than in the past couple years. But, you know, it is fairly young for a vegetable.
Okay.
Can I leave a little stalk?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Does it have a texture difference, a flavor difference? What's different?
Same
between
as
that and
broccoli. It does have a asparagus undertone to it.
Okay.
And actually, its first name was Asparabroc until they decided to just
call
change
it
to broccolini.
broccolini.
It's a joke.
Yes.
It's like if broccoli and
Yes.
asparagus had a child.
It's their love child.
Yes.
There it is.
All right.
Okay, so
Perfect. All right.
broccolini's part of it.
All
What
right,
else
I'm
have we got?
going to have Nikki start grating these potatoes for our
Okay.
potato cake.
And I don't have to peel it.
No, ma'am.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I might use more potatoes if I didn't have to peel them.
Right in the water with a little bit of salt, please. The salt's right in front of you.
Okay, now Joey has something in front of him I have never seen before. It is a very dark head of something.
That is black garlic.
Black
is what it's called.
garlic.
Yes.
Is it different, other than color, than
It is
white?
your normal, typical garlic you find in the store. What is done is it's slow cooked. And what happens when you sear a steak, which we're going to do in a minute,
Yeah.
the Maillard effect happens, and that's the browning of the protein and the sugars and everything in the meat. So this one was cooked about, I would say, 12 days, and it just slowly turns brown, about 120, 130 degrees.
That's
really,
crazy.
really
It's
slow.
so aromatic.
You get
Did
kind of
smell
a
it? It smells
balsamic
amazing.
and a tamarind flavor
Oh,
out
fun.
of it.
Okay, so we're using black garlic in the sauce. Is that
Yeah,
how
we're
that
using
works?
that in the demi-cream sauce today.
Okay.
All
Wow, all right, you've got
perfect.
them busy
so
over
if you'll
there.
just pop a couple of those out for me, then go ahead and chop your
Sure.
onion. We will
Oh, and
be
they're
good to
soft
go.
because they've been cooked.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
good.
Great.
All right, well, while he works on chopping his onion, I need you to talk to me a little bit about your meat preparation technique. I hear this word all the time and I do not understand
sous vide,
it. This is
yeah.
called a sous vide. I know they're very readily available now
Absolutely.
for consumers, but what does it do and how does it work?
It's kind of the same process as the garlic we just spoke about, and it's very slow cooking. Like for this meat here, you kind of take your weight and then you take your temperature and time and you make up your recipe for cooking the meat.
Okay.
So this one in particular, you know, we had a pound that I cooked last night.
Okay.
And you know, I started at 2 hours on 104 degrees, and then
So it is a very slow method.
very slow.
And I submerge in water?
Yeah, completely submerged. This
Can I
has,
do that?
Absolutely, go right
Okay.
ahead. This has a fan and a heater inside it, so it circulates the water to stay a constant 104 degrees.
So
as
does
it
this
cooks.
allow me to then actually cook my meat to temp and later on I give it that sear?
Yeah, later on you create that crust, that extra flavor, that Maillard effect we were talking about with the
Yeah.
garlic. That's what we're about
So
to do
your
now.
steak's perfect every time.
It is, whether you want
Now
medium,
I understand
mid-rare,
sous vide.
rare. Yeah, it makes
Okay.
it really easy. And this you can just kind of set and forget about
So
it.
is this basically a beef tenderloin cut?
It's a terrace major, and what it is, it comes from the shoulder blade of the cow, just
Okay.
under the pork. Or, I'm sorry, the shoulder.
Okay.
And you know, they compare it to a fillet. I don't think it's quite as tender fillet. There's a lot of fat around it.
Terrace major.
Terrace major, that's correct.
Never heard about that. All right, let's sear this guy up.
All right, I've got some oil going already, so if you just want to pop it in there.
All right, I get the meat duty. All right.
We also put a fennel pollen on that to create a little crust.
This is something I've never heard of. Tell me what fennel pollen is.
It just comes once the pollen plant buds, just like any other plant. It creates this little.
Will I be
pollen on
allergic to this?
outside.
Because the whole pollen word is bad for me right now.
I hope not. I hope not. Say that.
So, talk about creative ingredients. Fennel pollen rubbed on our meat, which has been sous vide. Black garlic.
It's everything. It's taking everything to not pop one of these into my mouth.
Go ahead. Try some.
Do it.
Do it.
Oh, it's so good.
So it's not like eating a raw
No,
clove.
no, it's not as strong, but it's so flavorful.
And then the potato pancake with the broccolini in it.
No, ma'am.
A little of this.
Yep, we got the potato pancake shredded right there. She's putting just a little bit of truffle oil in there. A very long way, but it is delicious.
I don't think so. Truffle oil. What's the green in my potato
The green
pancake?
is green onion.
Oh, just the green onion. Okay, so this is all coming together. An amazing fennel pollen crusted Niman Ranch steak served with broccolini and on a truffled potato pancake. And we put a little extra truffle in ours because we know we like it that way. Again, enjoy. Winefest is coming up the first weekend in April. It's a 4-day event. Madison's will be part of it. So great to have Chef Brian here. Nikki, always a thrill. We are about to have new flavors. Take some time and enjoy the Suncoast view.